All right. So welcome, Julie. We are very excited to have you with us as part of the Self-Care Summit. Now, you are a published author and will be contributing a series of speaker talks for us. Tell me a little bit more about your practice and your background.
So my name is Julie Archambault, and I'm the author of Sex Up Your Life, the mind-blowing path to true intimacy, healing, and hope. And it started off actually as my own personal journey trying to figure out things around sexuality, and just came to this feeling like, hey, we really, all of us have so much, crap around sexuality. And I sort of realized like this is something that everyone needs to look into and dig into, and because it has such a big bearing on our lives and we don't even realize it. And so as I was writing the book, I also started building this business called Co-Creative Sex. So I would guide people through different either coaching series, like sort of doing some deep sort of energy work with them through online portals, or as a group, sort of guiding a group through a process, and just helping people access like what is their bodies actually holding as information that's kind of getting in the way of them actually enjoying their lives at a sexual level, at just like feeling like a whole human being, because we are sexual beings, but we're also physical, we're emotional, we're spiritual. There's so many different layers to our being. And so it's like, how do we bring all these things together so that we can be this whole human being? And so, yeah, so I had this amazing journey where I really started interviewing all these people to create this continuum from complete disconnected, hurtful, fragmenting sex, because, we all know that sex is not all created equal, things that can be really damaging, all the way up to like sex that actually is a healing force and allows you to become this full, integrated, whole human being. And what's that journey look like? And what are the different people that are experiencing things at different levels, so that we can really allow people to identify themselves and see like where they're at, what's resonating with them, what are the subtle dynamics playing out? Because there's such a, when you start digging into this stuff, there's so many dynamics, and we kind of like just live them and we don't realize what we're in. So to start naming things and start be able to orienting ourselves around this question is extremely empowering. So that's what I do.
I was like, that sounds amazing. How long ago was the book published?
So I just published this in February. It was like launched on the 14th of February. We had this big summit where we invited some of the speakers, actually, because in my book, as you go up the spectrum, you need more and more people that have done deep work, right? So I interviewed some really powerful sex educators, tantra masters, just people who really dug into this very deeply. In a very earnest, authentic, real way. And so they're doing work as well in the world. And so I wanted people that were going to read the book to have an experience like hands-on with these different people. So we invited all these people to come for one weekend and to give the participants different workshops. And it was really like a very powerful, beautiful experience.
That sounds amazing. That was in Vancouver, correct?
It was in Vancouver, yeah. And we had some speakers all the way from London, England, all the way to California, people from Vancouver themselves as well. So we had a nice kind of array of where people were coming from and different sort of backgrounds and points of views.
That sounds amazing. I'm sorry I missed it. Tell me about your biggest struggle with self-care.
My biggest struggle with self-care is, and I think this is something that a lot of people who are maybe on a healing journey might experience, is that sometimes you grew up in an environment that just doesn't meet your needs and doesn't really understand how toxic certain things can be for you. And so you learn to go on this journey like on your own and become almost this lone wolf, and to survive as a lone wolf. And I feel like I've developed so many mechanisms to thrive, and to be resilient, but on my own. And so it's like I have that kind of workhorse, uh, lone wolf side, and I feel like it's like learning to let myself be supported, and to really balance out, like, okay, letting go of like all that things, all the projects I have, and I just come back to self. And yeah, just like letting people support me instead of being the one always supporting everyone, like just having that, like yeah, really learning to be in that sort of goddess place of like, hey, I can be loved and supported and cared for. It's not always like me, trying to get the crumbs kind of thing.
It sounds like you are ready to be open to receive. I love it.
It is. Woo-hoo,
Struggle, but it sounds like you are absolutely open. Now, given the work that you do, what is some of the self-care struggles that you see a lot with your clients?
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize that they're in toxic relationships, or they are so protecting themselves from being in a relationship because all they've known up to now is toxic. So it's sort of helping people dig into what the patterns are, where the lack of boundaries are, where the lack of voice is, where the lack of self-worth is, because all these things are going to show up in sex. They're all going to show up in relationships. They're all going to show up in lack of relationship and sex. So it's really helping people to identify how safe they feel in their bodies, how safe they feel emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and how to increase that so that you are attracting actually these really powerful things that are going to be positive in your life, instead of like coming from these places of wounding and attracting just the same old, and just reasserting those bad experiences. So helping them transition into something really positive and empowering and self-expressed and creative and just like alive, so that they like, for me, it's even more than just sex. It's like people can become sovereign human beings in their creativity and their joy and their vibrancy, and that they can allow themselves to receive the beautiful connection and in love.
Sounds like it's like a very deep self-awareness journey with everybody.
Exactly. It
Amazing
really
work.
is. It really is. And that's what's really cool, like, in this book, is that you kind of like go through that journey of like people who have really horrible, difficult situations, and you progress through it, through all these different stories that sort of show you that how you transform these scenarios, and how do you get to those more and more integrated places. How do you bring in, like, get over body shame? How do you get into your body and feel good about yourself? How do you allow yourself to play and be creative? How do you give yourself permission? Because we carry so many messages that are not helpful to our well-being, and we just operate in those places. So it's like how to get out of that to allow something much better to that's much more fulfilling to arrive in your life.
What's one of your favorite success stories, either yours or one of your clients?
So one of my successors or one of my clients?
Whatever you want to share.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, it's like a daily experience of just seeing these really aha moments in their face. When you're working with someone and it's just like, they're just like, whoa, like they maybe identify something, and then there's this meltdown. They might start crying or whatever, but it's like we just hit the exact moment. So this happens like all the time. And like, if I just think of like the last person that I had, it's like we just even just simple things, like someone who sort of sees themselves like as everything's great in their world, and but then you sort of find the right thing, and it helps them get more honest with themselves, like, oh no, actually, like, this is a mechanism of survival. I didn't even realize it, and like their whole body knows it, and they drop into that. There's been moments where people, they just like, for me, it's really exciting when I see clients, like, even right now I'm doing this, what we're calling the co-creative incubator. And it sort of allows people to dig into the book, but also dig into their own personal sexual biographies, and to start connecting with their real experiences, and starting to express them, not even just to themselves, but to a group. And to realize how much power comes in expressing your story and being heard and celebrated. So like, it's been 6 weeks we've been working together, and like the participants are like, yeah, like when they reflect back to even just the 6 weeks they had, it's like, I am becoming so much more self-expressed. I've been able to have the conversation with my partner that I've never had. I'm feeling good about myself. I can allow things to happen now. It's just like those little things that allow for real empowerment. But when you're empowered, then your whole life changes. That's what sometimes we sort of, I mean, maybe it's just myself, I think, oh, personal development, blah blah blah, but it's like, when you actually get to those places and your life can completely look different from like a year ago, that's powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, we do have you here with the Self-Care Summit. So what are you offering for people that find you through the summit that are new to you and your practice?
So of course, I'm going to be offering some really cool videos where we're going to go into like, what are real energetic boundaries? How do you know your boundary is a good boundary? Where do you leak your energy? Where do you leak your power? How to like take care of those things. Just start like bringing awareness to all these different things and how that drains you in your daily life. Whether you're a mom, you're a womenpreneur, or whatever it is, just like learning to understand how the whole system works. And then in my own personal life, on the side of the summit, I'm definitely in this whole process of creating this incubator, and we keep on adding more people, and it's just a really powerful experience. So if people know that they want to take on their sexual biographies and bring consciousness to it and freedom, and allow themselves to empower themselves, become more self-expressed, learn what it is to really be embodied, we're the perfect place to get that process started.
Now, on the incubator project, is it something that you're working with the same group throughout, or are people jumping in at different times?
So every 6 weeks we have openings for people to jump in.
And then start over every 6 weeks.
Yeah, so basically it's kind of like the way it's designed is that the book has 12 chapters, and each week we do one chapter, and there's 6 weeks, what I call the lower continuum, where we kind of explore more the shadow sides of sex, the different things that are unconscious and that are like actually hurtful to us. And we explore those different things in our biographies and become aware of like what we can call, like, say, the red flags, and start identifying them. And then the 6 upper sort of chapters are about the upper continuum, are all these stories of integration. So we go through, what does it mean to embody your body? What does it mean to embody your playfulness and creativity and sexuality? What does it mean to embody your power, your heart, your self-expression, your capacity of co-creation? And then we kind of keep on going deeper in that, like, what is it to bring mindfulness in your practice of sexuality? What does that look like? What is possible when you start bringing mindfulness? What does it mean to have like an energetic orgasm? Like, it's like bringing more and more awareness of what's possible in this kind of elastic, going from like rape and all these things all the way up to like energetic orgasm is like a whole spectrum, So we take each of these chapters and like dive into it, but we also do exercises and stuff to bring it alive for everyone. And so like they're kind of like self-contained like experiences, so we can do 6 weeks, 6 weeks, and then we just start all over it again, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, so people can jump in every 6 weeks and do the whole 12 weeks if they want.
Sounds awesome. So thank you so much for spending the time with me, Julie. I am so excited to have you as part of the summit, and we look forward to getting into those talks in a lot more depth.
Awesome. Thank you for inviting me.
Have a great day.
Thank you.